Dear learners, welcome to our session again. In this session, we will discuss about the chapter Making Decision, part 2. In the previous session, we have discussed two topics, the decision making process and the approaches to decision making. Now, in this session, we will discuss about types of decisions and the decision making conditions, decision making bias and errors, overview of managerial decision making, guidelines for effective decision making. So let's start one by one. First, we will start our discussion by explaining types of the decisions. Two types of decisions we will discuss here. One is structured problem and programmed decisions. Number two, unstructured problem and non-programmed decisions. So these two types we will discuss here. First one, structured problem and programmed decisions. So first we will see what is structured problems. Structured problem involves clear goals, means the manager know what he is going to do here, and the problem is familiar. That means he have faced or he made these challenges before, and the solution is very easy. Finally, the information about the problem is available and they have exact information what they need. So if this status exists, we can say the problem is a structured problem. So what will be the decision? Definitely the decision will be the program decision. That means the organizations know their problem and also they know what will be the solution. So they will apply that solution only this structured problem exists. So what is program decision? A program decision is a repetitive decisions that can be handled by a routine approach. That means they do same job every day. So there is an example of a structured problem and program decisions. Deciding quantity of materials based on estimated production. That means if the demand increases, they will buy more materials. If the demand decreases, they will buy the lower amount of materials. This is very simple and easy, and this is called a structured problem and program decisions. Another one, weekly work schedule for employees. If they need more production, they will employ more worker. If they need a lower amount of production, they will employ lower number of worker. So these all are straightforward. So that is called a structured problem and program decisions. Now we will discuss about the types of program decision. There are three types of program decisions. We will discuss one by one. First one is procedure. What is procedure? Procedure is a series of sequential steps that a manager can use to respond to a structured problem. That means sequential steps. They know what activities they have to perform and which one will be performed after which one. That is called a series of sequential steps. It is combinedly called a procedure. Example is given here. Purchase procedure, like identify the source from where they will collect the materials, select the suppliers, then determine the price, and finally submit the order. So there is a sequential step after which they will do the next. That is called procedure. Number two, rules. Sometimes organization apply some particular rules. So what is the rules? Rules is an explicit statement that limits what manager or employee can do or cannot do. By arranging or introducing rules, organization can solve many problems. One example is given here. No employee do late in attendance. So if they do late, they will get punishment. If they are regular in their job, they will get some benefit. So this is straightforward. This is rules. By applying these rules, they can solve many types of problem. Number three, policy. Sometimes policy also be helpful for the organizations. What is policy? A general guideline for making decision about the structured problem, because the organizations know about these types of problem from before. So they make some policy, they make some guideline. One example is given here. Worker will get bonus if they can increase the productivity. Very simple. Worker will increase the productivity, they will get the bonus. If they are not able to improve their productivity, they will get the regular salary. So this is the three types of program decisions. Now we will discuss about number 2, unstructured problem and non-program decision. What is unstructured problem? Unstructured problems are new or unusual, for which information is ambiguous or incomplete. This is totally inverse of the previous one. We have seen this structured problem, everything is known, everything is familiar, but here the problem is new. This problem arises for the first time and the manager don't have any specific information how to solve it, and he doesn't know what will be the impact of this problem. This is called unstructured problem. And these types of problem require custom-made solutions. Custom-made solution means different situation, different time, different place, different people require different types of solution for same problem. Okay, the problem, if it is arises in summer, it will be one type of solution. If same problem arises in winter, there shall require other types of solutions. This is called unstructured problem. And as the information or the problem is not known to the manager, so manager have to take some decisions that is not taken before. That is called non-program decision. Decisions that are unique and non-recurring. That means it is not happened before and the manager didn't take these types of decisions before, and it may not occur again. This is called non-recurring. And also decisions that generate unique response. Unique response means the response required to solve this problem is not taken before. This is called unique response. Now we will compare between program decisions and non-program decisions. There is some criteria, types of problem. For program decisions, the types of problem is structured, that means they know everything. For non-program decisions, the types of problem is unstructured, that means they know nothing about the problem before. Basically, program decisions happen or taken at the lower level, and non-program decisions taken by the upper level or top level of the organization. And frequency, program decisions is repetitive and routine. As we said that this fact or problem is known by the manager, it means that it happened before. But for the non-program decisions, it is new and unusual. It was not happened before. Information, for program decisions, information is specific and ready and available, but for non-program decisions, it is ambiguous or incomplete. It means manager don't know about the problem and what he have to do. Goals, for program decisions, the manager know what he have to do, but for the non-program decision, the manager don't know what he have to do before. Then time frame for the solutions. For program decisions, as it is prepared before, it requires a short time to solve the problem. But for non-program decisions, whether it is a small or complex, normal or complex problem, it may take long time decision as the manager don't know about the solution. And the solutions relies on procedure, rules and policies for program decisions. But for non-program decision, it depends on judgment and creativity. So that are the basic difference between program decisions and non-program decisions. Now we will discuss about decision-making conditions. There are two conditions we are going to discuss here: certainty and risks. So what is certainty? Certainty is a situation in which a manager can make an accurate decisions because the outcome of every alternative choice is known. So decision making condition, sometime the manager know about the problem before, that is called certain problem. One example is given here. The manager will deposit extra money in the bank which provide the high profit. It means that if the organization have excess amount of money, they will just keep it in the bank which will provide the high profit. So this is very simple and clear, and this is certain. But sometimes the condition is not easy to measure. This is called risk, a situation in which the manager is able to estimate the likelihood of the outcomes that result from the choice of particular alternative. That means they can just guess or make an idea, but he has no idea, a specific idea what will be the actual output of the solutions. This is called risk. One example is given here. A manager will invest extra amount if there is additional demand, but there is risk of lower additional demand. It means that manager will invest the extra amount if there is additional demand. That means additional demand is not certain. It might be, but after investing the amount for the extra production, if the demand is not increased at the time, there is a risk of losing profit. So this is called risk. So these are the two conditions at which manager take decisions. So decision making bias and errors. It means that sometimes manager take decision based on some personal biasness, and sometimes managers do some mistake. So this is the full picture of bias and error decision taken by the manager. So let's see all the bias and errors that is happened in decision making process. Overconfidence, immediate gratification, anchoring effect, selective perception, confirmation bias, framing bias, availability bias, representation bias, randomness bias, sunk cost error, self-drive serving bias, hindsight bias. So that are the 12 bias and errors. We will discuss one by one. First one is overconfidence bias. Decision makers overestimate their knowledge and abilities. They think that, or they assume that what they know is totally perfect, and sometimes this overconfidence lead to some problems. Second one, immediate gratification bias. What is this? Preferring immediate rewards over long-term benefits. Sometimes the manager feel hurry to get the solution as early possible, and so they just hurry up for initiating some activities, and this is the situation where manager can make mistake. Anchoring effect, rely on initial information, neglecting new data. Whenever any problem arises, the manager quickly try to solve it, but they should wait for some time, because one problem is related to the other problem. So before arising another problem, if they solve the first one, again they have to face same problem if the next one arises. That is called anchoring effect. Selective perception bias, interpreting events based on personal biases, shaping decision. That means, as we told before, some manager, they possess some ideology, beliefs and values, and based on that they take decisions. That is called selective perception bias, and then they don't go for this boundary. 5. Confirmation bias, seeking information that confirms existing beliefs, ignoring contradiction. Some manager, they just consult with some people, and they ignore What is the inverse of this decision? Framing bias, highlighting certain aspect of a situation while downplaying other. So framing bias, highlighting certain aspect of a situation while downplaying other. It means manager just consider some particular situation and they don't think about the other situation. Availability bias, relying on recent memories, leading to skewed judgment. That means same problem may happen before. So if the problem happened now, the manager just considering the current situation, he doesn't think about the previous situation. That is called availability bias. What is just in front of him or her, they will just consider this. Representation bias, assessing event based on their similarity to other events. If it is mean that, for example, a manager faces one particular problem with one organizations, if he face similar problem in other organizations, they try to solve based on their previous experience. That is called representation bias. Randomness bias, finding patterns in random events, misinterpreting the chance. Sometimes manager think that they will just do some activities so that it is solved, and they don't consider other fact, environment, information. They just depends on the luck. That is called random bias. Sunk cost error, relying on past investment, ignoring future consequences. Sometimes manager think that, oh, if we solve this problem, we need to invest this amount of money and this is the costlier for the organization, but it might be beneficial for the long time. But they don't think about the future return, they just think about current return. If current return is losing, they are avoiding. That is called sunk cost error. Self-serving bias, taking credit for success, blaming external factors for failure. Some people we will see around us, they are ready to take or accept the success of everything, but they just blame other people if they do some mistake. Hindsight bias, believing one could have predict an outcome after it has occurred. Some people think that they know the expected outcome of these solutions, and based on that expected outcome they do everything, but it might be wrong. So that are the 12 decision making bias and errors that occurred in the decision making. Now we will see overview of the managerial decision making, the overall process. Here is the decision making process. The exhibit outlines managerial decision making. Managers aim to make optimal decisions for the best outcome. They choose the best alternative, implement it, and evaluate its effectiveness. The decision making process is influenced by 4 factors, like from the top, decision making approaches, then types of problems and decisions, then decision making conditions, then decision makers style. So these are the factors they have to consider for decision making. Then decision context ranges from employees issue to market entry. There are some factors relating to internal organizations, there are some factors related to the external environment. Each decision is shaped by various factors impacting the outcome, different factors as we have discussed before. So this is the overall managerial decision making process. Now, guidelines for effective decision making. This is the general guideline from the author of this textbook. Number 1, understand the cultural differences. Decision making abilities make impact on the performance and career advancement. Here are some guidelines to help better decision making for the organization. Number 1, understand cultural differences. It means adapt decision making to cultural values, beliefs, and behaviors. It means that different organizations may have different cultural beliefs and practices. One similar problem might be solved by taking different initiative in the different organization based on the cultural differences. One problem solved in advanced world, it might not be possible to apply same way to the underdeveloped country. Create standards for good decision. Number 2, use information, consider options, and avoid conflict of interest. It means that before taking the decisions, the manager have to collect and process all the information. Information means the right information. They have to make the difference which one is right and which one is wrong, and they have to prepare all the available alternatives to solve the problem. And finally, if there is any conflicting situation, they try to avoid it. Number 3, know when to call it quits. Recognize and stop ineffective decisions promptly. If the manager just learn that what they are going to do is not right, it is wrong, what about the step that should stop there? What about laws they make? Just let it go, but don't allow to produce more cost. Effective decision making process. Focus on what's important, be logical and consistent, and blend analytical and intuitive thinkings. Use necessary information, guide information gathering, and be straightforward and flexible. These all the features we have discussed by through this chapter. How we have to take the decision, we have to follow this guideline. Finally, develop clear thinking. Continuously improve decision making skills through study and reflections. The manager have to study again and again, and they have to learn throughout their career. By learning or by experiencing, they can take more efficient decisions later on. So that is the overall discussion of part 2. Here is the some terms, specific terms. If the learners just emphasize on learning this term, there will be it will be helpful to understand the different discussion of this chapter. There is 25 terms. Learners are advising to go through this specific topic. Now, in the summary, in part 1, we have discussed 2 part: decision making process and approaches to decision making. And in part 2, we have discussed types of decision and decision making conditions, decision making bias and errors, overview of managerial decision making, guidelines for effective decision making. So that's all for the discussion on the decision making. I hope the learners will get some advantage or will get some benefits if they listen carefully part 1 and part 2. So that's all for today. Thank you for your attention.